In this video where I have a photo of me, I want to show you some basic editing techniques that you can apply on a particular image to make it look better. First of all, let me take my time to tell you what the eraser tool does. Now, the eraser tool, like the name implies, is used to erase a particular part of a rasterized layer that you might not want. And the eraser tool works like the brush tool, where you can select from a list of brush types, a blur brush, a hard brush, like that. And right here I'm going to reset the brushes. I'm quickly going to reset the brushes from here. Now you see the round brush, the soft brush, the hard brush. So if I happen to select the soft brush and I increase the brush size and clean, you discover that it cleans with edges being a kind of transparent. Okay, now that is just what the eraser tool does. I'm going to tell you about what we call the smudge tool. Now what the smudge tool does is it tries to increase the edges of a particular layer, okay, a rasterized layer. Now I have myself there, and let me say I want to reduce this to something like this. I want to bring it this way. Now this in no way works like the warp tool, because the warp tool does a different thing from the smudge tool. Now the smudge tool tends to either bring out a particular layer, or it kind of fade in or smudge a particular layer. Okay, now this is what I'm talking about. I can decide to change my teeth to that of a vampire by simply dragging it out a little using the smudge tool, as you can see. And I can quickly go and bring this one out a little too to make it look more like a vampire. Okay, now that is just for test purposes. I'm not a vampire. And you can decide to tweak this image to make it look like a zombie, or maybe one particular character in a movie or not, using the smudge tool. And we've already seen how it works, and it uses the brush preset, which you can increase and decrease. And you can decide to use the hard brush or the soft brush depending on which one you want. You can decide to change the layer, the blend mode, to any particular blend mode of your choice. Okay, here you see I'm trying to tweak this, and I begin to look somehow. Wow, that's funny. And okay, just play with that and see how it works. I think you're going to enjoy playing with the smudge tool because it's a very nice one. Now let's talk about the sharpen tool. Now the sharpen tool tends to sharpen a blur area, or a particular area that is blur. Now since we don't have one here, you might not see the effect, but I'm just going to draw around a particular area to see. Now you actually see no effect because we don't have a blur tool that is visible here. But let me quickly take you to the next tool behind, which is the blur tool. Now the blur tool here tends to sharpen the edges of a particular layer, or anywhere where it is being drawn, it tends to blur that particular area. Okay, so I'm just going to select hard brush, and let's see what we've got. Now as I brush around the head, you discover that that area becomes blur. It does not look normal anymore. So if I continue brushing on that area, you discover that it becomes blur gradually, and it does not look as sharp as it was before. Now if I brush around the teeth, if you look at the teeth, you discover something, that the teeth is now very blur and is not looking as good as it was. So that is what the blur tool does, and I think the sharpen tool does the opposite of that. Okay, that is where the sharpen tool comes in. Any area where it's blurred, you can use the sharpen tool to sharpen such area to bring it back to its normal way. Okay, to bring it back to the way it was before. Or if in case it was blur, and you can use the sharpen tool to sharpen it. But if you do that too much, then you're going to over sharpen it, making it look very ugly. Now let's talk about the sponge tool, which a kind of add dark, or a kind of add midtones to a particular area. depending on how you select it from the mode here. So if you want it to saturate, then any selected area is going to kind of saturate that area with a particular flow. So let me increase it to 100 degrees, and if I drag, you discover that that area I'm dragging is a kind of beginning to change to a particular mid-tone. So as you continue to drag, it continues to change to such mid-tone until you get a particular effect you want. Now I believe you begin to see the changes. You can do it on an image depending on what you want to use the image for. Now in some posters you can find that, but that is how it is being done. Now I can decide to brush around my mouth, and you discover that I begin to have a red lips from the sponge too. Okay, so I can decide to also use the bond to kind of darken some areas of myself. Okay, let's say I want to darken the teeth a little. You can decide to use the sponge to do that. You discover that as I brush around the teeth becomes a little dark. It does not turn black completely, but it kind of darkens it a little, leaving you with a very nice effect in some cases. Okay, now let's look at the dodge tool. Now the dodge tool, a kind of undo, has its own job there. Okay, it kind of brightens a layer. Okay, now if you look at my suit here, the left part of the suit is more brighter than the right part because I've used the dodge tool to kind of brighten it a little. Now you can decide to brighten here too. As I shade it, it kind of removes black from the layer. Okay, so it's just like the opposite of the dodge tool, sorry, the bond tool. Okay, the dodge tool and the bond tool are like two opposite tools. So what you can do with the dodge tool, you can undo with the bond tool. Okay, so I believe this is a very nice one and it's very brief. So I'll like you to go through it, try to use the 1 or 2 real examples and live examples, and get to know the effect that you come out with.